The purpose of this podcast is to educate and inform. It is no substitute for professional care by your doctor or your qualified healthcare professional. Never disregard or delay professional medical advice because of something you've heard on this podcast or in any linked material. Guests who speak on this podcast express their own opinions, experience, and conclusions. Dr. Shirley neither endorses nor opposes any particular opinion discussed on this podcast. The views expressed on this podcast have no relation to those of any academic, hospital, practice, institution, or other entity with which Dr. Shirley may be affiliated.
Welcome to Forever Fab, the podcast on fashion, the art of living, and all things beauty. This podcast is curated by Dr. Shirley Madeir, MD, as the definitive source of holistic wellness through beauty.
Welcome back to part 2 of the Forever Fab podcast with my illustrious guest, Christina Rice, founder of Om Noir. Now, Christina, Om Noir holds wellness retreats, right? For women who are looking to recharge, refocus, redesign their lives, recenter. Give me an example of what a typical offering is for any random retreat.
So I did not too long ago. I wrote a blog post about like every retreat is not for you, and here's why. Right?
Yes.
And I say that because what's really important is that yes, you are inspired by we're going to Turks and Caicos or a place that you've always wanted to go to, right? Dubai or whatever it is, but you also have to be very self-aware of what you need out of it, and also what that retreat leader can give you. So for me, my retreats are very specific. I am an adventurer. I'm a thrill seeker, but I also firmly believe that one modality of wellness is conquering a fear. Right?
Oh, yes.
And so there's always going to be some kind of adventure, whether it is, climbing up a, active volcano, or, hiking a waterfall or things like that. And so one element I know of my retreats is I'm going to just challenge you. I'm going to challenge you physically because it's also going to challenge you mentally. And I want to see you get to the other side of that thing that you thought you couldn't do, because it unlocks so many other possibilities for you. Because then you start thinking, well, what else can I do? Right. What else can I achieve? And so that's an element of my retreats. And I believe that's a part of my own spiritual work, is to continue to not only challenge myself, but to allow people or give people the space to challenge themselves and their own limited beliefs of what they can achieve.
I don't know if I would sign up for your retreat because I'd be scared. But I'd also be excited to know, what it is that has been holding me back. So it must be quite a release. And quite, people must have like these epiphanies, and there must be tremendous moments of joy.
Absolutely. I mean, I just came back from Ghana a month ago.
Wow.
And
amazing.
We did this suspension bridge.
Ooh.
It was 2 that were like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I am afraid of height. I'm afraid of heights. Like, I refuse. And then I was just like, okay, no problem.
Right.
And then so just let them be. And then as the group went, because they could, go back to the point of the height.
Yes.
Next thing I know, turn around and they're just inching across. And one of the guides, it was like, just look at me. So she was looking at him, but she was inching. Because if you look down.
Oh, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
But just seeing that elation of getting to the end of that bridge, was like, this is why I do it. Yeah. And so then the next thing she said was, she was like, well, I have a trip to Costa Rica. Maybe I will go ziplining. And so that's where it starts to unlock.
Yes.
I did this. So that means I can probably do something else. And look how much that translates into other areas of your life. Well, I went across the suspension bridge. Maybe I can start that business.
That's right.
Or maybe, that relationship I've been scared to leave because
Right.
I don't want to start over. I can do that. I went across the suspension bridge.
Right. And I didn't die.
And I didn't die. How about that? Because everything that we're afraid of, it's that thing that be like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I'm going to freeze.
Right. It's the death of me.
It's the death of me. And then it doesn't. And it doesn't happen. And so I would say that probably for me is like something that, I love to just see unlock in my attendees.
Yes.
And so then, of course, we have other retreats led by other retreat leaders.
Yes.
And so they all have that special thing that they offer as well.
So it is clear that every aspect of your life is about teaching and helping to empower women. Mm-hmm. You are a consummate teacher. You teach not only yoga to students, but you also teach the business of wellness to yoga instructors and founders of wellness companies. So why do you feel that it's important to invest in both the lay students, the students who are just learning yoga, as well as teachers through your academy? So tell me about your academy where it's lay people as well as fellow business women, and some of them who are obviously going to be the future leaders in wellness. So why is that important to you?
Well, first, I don't teach anymore.
In some ways you do, maybe not formally, but in many ways you do. You can't help it. It just seeps out of you.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I only teach at my retreats now. So yes. Before I used to be in the studio and all that kind of stuff, but running a business and trying to teach is very difficult. And so the academy, actually, I came up with the idea of the Retreats Academy early 2020. It was around January, February. And again, it was just something that came to me, but I also listened to my community. And so I would get DMs or emails like, are you going to ever do a retreat for mothers and daughters, or a retreat for entrepreneurs or writers, or a retreat centered around grief and healing? And so I was like, I can only like physically and energetically host a couple retreats a year.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, how do we expand our retreat offerings? And so I was like, well, I have to bring on other facilitators. And then I was like, well, what do I teach them, or how do I teach them? And how would that work? And is it just a workshop I offer, or whatever the case may be? And then in January, it started to take shape like, oh, I need to do an academy. I need to launch it. But also not just, at the time, because it's changed now, but not just like, I'll teach you and then you just like go off and whatever, but it's like, but how do I bring you under the Om Noir umbrella?
Yes.
And so I was like, academy, I was like, I don't know where to start. I've never hosted, I never taught a course or anything like that. But
that's not new for you, not knowing something and then figuring it out and then like blowing it out.
Right. And then COVID hit. And so then I was like, I'm busy. Like, I had a retreat that was canceled 1 month, or lockdown happened 1 month before we were to start the retreat. And so, everything is in turmoil. And so I was like, that ain't nobody thinking about travel now, obviously, because we can't travel, but also because it is, a very financially heavy time for people.
Yes.
And so I put it to the side. And then last spring, it came to me again. So now we're in spring 2021. And I was just like, it's time. And I knew travel would explode post-pandemic. I knew that people, after being cooped up for a year at the time, and then I was like, it's probably going to be another year.
Yeah.
I was like, they're going to be ready to stamp them passports and book all that stuff. And so we launched it last summer, and the first iteration of it was just a live week course. You are under the Om Noir umbrella. So I like to call it like the Airbnb of luxury retreats for Black
Yes.
women of color. And so it's like a marketplace.
Yes.
I coached them, I helped them plan their retreats, and now they're listed on the Om Noir website.
Wow.
And so I had two cohorts that sold out in a matter of days. And so I had 60 retreat leaders that I was
Oh my gosh.
coaching. Trust me, it was a heavy.
Wow.
And so, once you got through those two cohorts towards the end of last year, it was like, okay, but how do we expand this? Everyone may not need the Om Noir umbrella. Maybe they have their own platforms and they just want to learn the business of hosting retreats and building a business out of it and all that kind of stuff. And so now we just launched it literally a couple days ago. And so now you have two options, which is a digital course, which is, modules that I have recorded and
Yes.
worksheets and exercises, all that stuff. And you also have the option of the live course.
Wow.
And I also had to make sure too that we expanded our language so that it was more inclusive, and it did not just it wasn't just focused on people in wellness, because you can be a financial expert
Yes.
that wants to host a retreat, and also
Absolutely.
redefining the term retreat. It doesn't have to be, yoga and meditation
And essential oils and lying down on your back. Yeah.
it doesn't have to be that. Retreat is an escape. A retreat is an awakening, all that kind of stuff. And so like I said, you could be a coach, a finance expert, and you want to bring your clients together on a beautiful island and help them step away from the demands of everyday life and all that stuff. And so that they can really be present and absorb whatever it is that you're teaching. Right.
Yeah.
So we shifted our language to, like I said, be a little bit more inclusive. And also, like I said, kind of redefine the narrative and what retreat can mean. Right. And so it's been amazing. But going back to the teaching part of it is, I know, and I've heard it, and it's been reaffirmed that there just are not enough spaces for us to heal and connect. And you may think that it is like, oh, everybody's hosting retreats, and in the US alone is 17.9 million Black women.
Yeah.
You bring in women of color, you bring in any race, and any community, LGBTQ plus,
Right.
Black, browns, all of it. It's like, there's just not enough spaces for us to come together and connect and heal, but also explore the world together and all that stuff. And so that's what I tell my retreat leaders. It's like, you can own your own lane, because there's something very unique about you.
Yeah.
Some area of your life that you've transformed and you have awakened that somebody else needs.
Very true. I think it's super smart that you opened up and expanded on the definition of retreat, because it's true. And not, part of my hesitation with, thinking about teaching yoga was like, oh my gosh, well, at some point I'm going to have this retreat.
Yeah.
And how am I going to do, like a whole week of yoga just by myself? So it was daunting, but the fact that you opened up the definition, I really think it is super attractive. And you never know, I might sign up for one of you.
Oh, I would love for you to. I'm excited. I'm actually, I was thinking earlier, I was like, I really, really love teaching. And, I'm eventually going to transition out of hosting retreats.
Mm-hmm.
And all I want to do is teach my retreat leaders, coach them, and help them become successful in a way that I have, and which was never planned and nothing I could have ever imagined to, build a, successful, profitable wellness business that started from one retreat that has grown into so much more. And there's still so much more to come.
It was meant for you.
Thank you.
It was written. It was just meant for you.
Thank you.
So as we come to the near close of our interview, I have some rapid fire questions for you.
Ooh.
What do you absolutely love and embrace about the wellness industry in a few words or less?
I love that. What I love about the wellness industry is that it's so expansive.
Okay. What would you change about wellness in today's society and how we do wellness?
Redefining what wellness means.
Mm-hmm.
And it is an individual journey and an individual calling, and is not just monolithic.
Good answer. Let's shake it up a little bit. What do you love about fashion?
Oh, fashion. Oh my God.
Yes.
I love the ability to experiment with fashion.
Okay. Next rapid fire question. What is your personal style? Like, you're a yogi. Are you always in, like leggings and a t-shirt?
I am very bohemian chic.
Okay. I like it. Bohemian chic. And what do you consider to be an essential fashion piece that no matter what, every woman should own? One essential fashion piece.
Ooh.
So
fashion. One essential fashion piece. That's so hard.
I know, like for some people, it's the little black dress. For other people, it's like, oh no, it is the investment bag. And some people, it's just like, no, it's a tailored white shirt. It is a hard question because there's so many things that, society tells us we must have. But if you had to go to your closet and you didn't have this thing.
A caftan.
Okay. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like a caftan.
Yes.
Okay. And what is your personal beauty skincare routine?
Oh, so my personal beauty skincare routine is wash my face every night. I cannot sleep with makeup on.
Thank you.
Yes, and definitely under eye oil. That's the best. That's the best. You got to keep that area nice and
super hydrated.
Yes.
It's crazy, isn't it? And in the same vein, what is the one beauty product or skincare product that you absolutely cannot live without? Like, what would go with that caftan?
The one, I don't know if this would be considered. What is it? Okay, say it one more time.
What is the one beauty product or skincare product? It could be makeup, it could be skincare that you cannot live without.
Lip gloss.
Okay. I'm with you on that one. I like luby lips.
Yes.
Oh, Christina, this brings us to the last question. I'm so happy that we did this interview. I'm sad that it's the last question, but I know this is just an opening to even more. I'm very excited for you. Your star is still rising, and what you do for people, women, Black women, women of color, the community at large is pure love. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so the last question is the Fab Five. What are your top 5 recommendations for living a beautiful and fabulous life? I'm going to take your time. I'm going to write these down.
Okay. Only say yes if it is a full body yes.
Ooh, I haven't heard that one. I like that. Okay.
Learn to say no without explaining.
I like that too. That's so hard to do. I always feel like, you have to be like, well, no, because.
Right. Just no.
Yeah, just no.
Ways to say no, but you don't have to say but or because or anything.
Yeah. Number 3.
Book that vacation.
Oh, yes. Important. That's part of self-care, leaving.
Yes, definitely. Let's see. So that was number 3. So I have 4 and 5.
Yes, ma'am.
Always learn something new.
Mm-hmm. And your fab number 5.
That's a good one. Number 5. Let's see. I'm not living a fabulous life. It's coming to me. It's coming to me.
Like so much in your life has, just let it flow.
That's it. Live by flow and not by force.
Ooh, you see how it just came to you? I mean, just like that. Live by flow, not by force. Okay. I've written all those down. They will be retweeted, reposted, everything. Your name will be all over them.
Thank you.
You are a healer and a scholar. This brings us to our close of the Forever Fab podcast with my fabulous guest, Christina Rice, founder of Om Noir. Christina, thank you so very much for your time. I really appreciate your love, your insight, your light. Keep doing what you're doing. I hope we see you again. We hear from you again. And as always, stay beautiful and fabulous inside and out.
Thank you for having me. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you very, very much. Stay well. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ciao. This brings us to our close of this week's episode of the Forever Fab podcast with my illustrious and fabulous guest, Christina Rice, founder of Om Noir. Are you ready to breathe deeply, then exhale? Take a step towards living boldly and manifesting your glorious destiny. Visit omnoir.com and sign up to breathe with a like-minded community or sign up for a luxury retreat. Where will your next adventure take you? Also, check out Om Noir and Christina Rice on social at Christina M. Rice and at Om Noir. Thank you for listening to this week's Forever Fab podcast episode. Until next time, stay beautiful and fabulous inside and out.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Forever Fab, the podcast on fashion, the art of living, and all things beauty, curated by Dr. Shirley Madeir, MD. Live beautifully and help make the world a more beautiful place.